Help me to complete my first 1,000 subscribers. And that's when she looked at my boss and said, "Don't worry. He's used to being the last one to know." Everyone laughed. Even him. That sound laughter mixed with clinking glasses hit harder than any confession ever could. My name is Marcus Ellison. I was 36 years old that night. I worked as a senior compliance officer at a financial services firm in Seattle. I had been married for 9 years. The party was on a rooftop downtown. String lights, an open bar. Music just loud enough to make conversations feel private. My boss had insisted spouses attend. "We're celebrating growth," he said. "I brought my wife because that's what you do when things already feel fragile and you're hoping public normalcy might glue something back together." She barely spoke to me on the way there. Scrolled through her phone. Smiled at something I didn't ask about. At the party, she came alive, laughing, touching arms, leaning in too close when people spoke to her. I stayed near the bar, nursing a drink, answering work questions, pretending I wasn't watching my marriage drift across the rooftop without me. Then my boss joined our circle. He was relaxed, joking. Someone teased him about office rumors, harmless stuff. He laughed and said, "I guess everyone's got secrets." That's when my wife tilted her head and said, "Some people are just better at hiding them." My boss raised an eyebrow. "Oh," she glanced at me, then back at him. "Ask him, he's very trusting." There was a pause. A beat too long. Someone chuckled. Then another. My boss laughed awkwardly, unsure but unwilling to kill the mood. I felt my face burn. My wife lifted her glass like she'd just delivered a clever line. That was the moment. My humiliation, repackaged as entertainment. After the party, in the elevator, I said, "What was that supposed to mean?" She sighed. "Marcus, relax. It was a joke." "A joke about what?" She stared straight ahead. "About you." At home, she kicked off her shoes and went straight to the kitchen. pouredwater.com/unbothered. "Is there something you want to tell me?" I asked. She shrugged. "You wouldn't handle it well." I sat down slowly. "Try me." She leaned against the counter. "I'd been seeing someone from work, not yours, mine. For a while." "How long is a while?" "About a year." "A year." "Of late meetings. Of canceled weekends. Of me convincing myself I was paranoid." "And my boss?" I asked. She smirked. "He figured it out before you did." That stung more than the affair. "Why humiliate me?" I asked quietly. She looked at me like the answer was obvious. "Because you make it easy. You never push back." I waited for remorse. It never came. "I never loved you the way you needed," she continued. "You were convenient, safe. You made life simple." "And my feelings?" I asked. She shrugged. "They're not my responsibility." I didn't sleep that night. I sat on the floor of the living room until dawn, replaying every time I'd stayed quiet to keep the peace. Every time I'd chosen patience over honesty. The next week, I went to work like nothing had happened. My boss avoided me. Short emails, polite nods. No eye contact. That was the real betrayal. Not just my wife's affair, but knowing my professional life had become collateral damage. I didn't confront him. I didn't need to. The silence said enough. At home, my wife acted relieved. Like the secret being out freed her from pretending. "You're being distant," she said one night. "I'm being accurate," I replied. She laughed. "You'll come around. You always do." That sentence broke something. I realized I had spent years negotiating my self-respect for stability, confusing loyalty with endurance. The turning point wasn't dramatic. It was administrative. I opened a new bank account, moved my paycheck, consulted a lawyer during my lunch break. Quiet steps. Controlled steps. When I told her I was filing for divorce, she stared at me like I'd violated an unspoken agreement. "You're serious?" she asked. "Yes. What about everything we built?" I looked around the house. "You turned it into a joke." At work, I requested a transfer to another department. No accusations. No explanations. Just a clean boundary. My boss approved it without discussion. That told me all I needed to know. The months that followed were heavy but honest. A small apartment. Long walks. Therapy sessions where I learned the difference between love and tolerance. She reached out once. Said she didn't think I'd actually leave. Said she missed my steadiness. I didn't respond. Not because I was angry. Because I was done explaining my worth to someone who found it amusing to diminish. Here's the lesson I learned the hard way. When someone laughs at your pain in public, they've already decided you don't deserve privacy, protection, or respect. Cheating hurts. But humiliation changes how you see yourself. And dignity doesn't come from winning arguments or exposing people. It comes from walking away when staying means shrinking. That night on the rooftop didn't end my marriage. It exposed the truth. And for the first time in years, I chose not to laugh along.